Tannadice. The West Germans flew into Glasgow en route to their hotel headquarters in St Andrews. They had been scheduled to fly to Edinburgh, but fog at the capital's airport resulted in their being diverted to Glasgow. United are the second Scottish team to face Borussia in this season's competition. In the third round, Rangers went out on the away goals rule and had 2 players sent off. But the Germans' last trip to Tayside 6 years ago still haunts them. They were beaten 5-0 as United ran riot, and Borussia don't want to set eyes on the ground again until just before tomorrow's kick-off.
Ticket sales at Tannadice for the first leg of the UEFA Semi-Final started with a trickle. By today, business had increased to a steady flow. But without a torrent of interest in the £10 and £20 tickets in the next 24 hours, Tannadice Park will be only 3/4 full.
Well, obviously for a semi-final, a European tournament, it's very disappointing. But Dundee seems to be a different city from the likes of Glasgow in particular, where they're football crazy. In Dundee, they pick and choose and come along when they like. And really, there isn't the numbers in Dundee to support 2 teams as far as I'm concerned, football-wise.
In the quarter-final beating of Barcelona, United drew great inspiration from international goalkeeper Billy Thomson. He's since missed 3 games because of an injured ankle. Today he had his first training session and seems certain to have won his battle for fitness.
There's no way that I wanted to miss the semi-final of the UEFA Cup, and I think that really spurred me on to get fit. The ankle was held up really, really well. There was very, very little reaction off it at all, and I don't really see it a problem on Wednesday night.
If Jim McLean was pleased to have Thomson back as his last line of defence, he was neither showing it nor admitting it. Instead, he supervised a foggy training stint and pleaded with his players to learn from Borussia's last Scottish visit.
We've got to be very wary that our players don't charge forward from the back and leave everything exposed. I think Rangers most certainly deserve to go through in the games they played against them, but I'm sure they would admit that we're a wee bit naive at Ibrox and did get caught in the break. But they are exceptional on the break, and we must make sure that...
hours' time, the players of Dundee United will run on to rain-sodden Tannadice Park, bidding to take the club into its first ever European final. They'll take on the powerful West Germans of Borussia Monchengladbach in the semi-final first leg of the UEFA Cup, knowing that they'll need the same sort of performance that paved the way for victory over Barcelona in the previous round.
And that's played away by Moratalia. Gallagher was hoping to get free on the right, but the United fans encouraged as the throw is quickly taken towards Thurrock. There's Gallagher. A perfect start for Dundee United.
The Germans decided not to train on Tannadice and won't be at the ground until just before the kick-off, having spent a peaceful day at the Old Course Golf and Country Club in St Andrews. They'll be without their top goal scorer, Ewald, and know they face a tough match.
Well, everyone, of course, remembers the last match we had against Dundee, this 5-0 at Tannadice Park, although only 1 or 2 players are left from that team. But that's long ago, I think, and we have a lot of young players, and so the young players, and they could see that that Dundee is very strong at home and on the other place in Barcelona. I think it was a good match of them in Barcelona, and you must be a European top team if you win in Barcelona, I think.
As usual, Dundee United have done their pre-match homework, with manager Jim McLean and coach Gordon Wallace watching Borussia in Germany just over a week ago. And the Tannadice coach knows just what to expect.
I was very impressed with their organisation. They tend to be slightly more defensive, I would say, than Barcelona. They play with more numbers back, but then they get forward very, very quickly.
From what we saw of them against Rangers, a very physical side.
They've got the reputation of being the most physical side in Germany at the moment, and that appeared to be the case in the Rangers game. A lot of it, again, is not that they're dirty, just that their tackling's off, you know.
Does that worry you at all? Because Barcelona weren't at all like that.
The Barcelona game was one of the most fair and sporting games I think I've seen in a long, long time between both sides. And the Germans will definitely spoil, they'll definitely obstruct, they'll do all the things to stop you getting a continuity to the game.
Very, very confident, same as the last round. I told you the last time we'd beat Barcelona, and I think we'll beat Borussia as well.
The biggest surprise and disappointment for Dundee United has been the fans' response to such an historic game. Although a number were still buying tickets today, it's estimated that only around 14,000 will be there to cheer United on to what everyone hopes will be a famous victory.
A man who is an ardent admirer of West German football will attempt to beat the Germans at their own game and move a step closer to the club's first ever European final. Ticket sales on Tayside for the UEFA Cup Semi-Final first leg against Borussia Monchengladbach have been disappointing, but United's experienced European campaigners can take heart from the fact that the Tannadice terraces hold unhappy memories for Borussia.
Two very important factors as well. One, Billy Thomson is fit and will play, and I think he's gaining respect throughout Europe for his performances in the previous round, so that, I think, will steady the nerves of the United defence. Secondly, the Germans apparently have come to this fair country of ours with one of the most outstanding players in Europe absent, Uwe Rand, the man who scored the only goal of the game at Ibrox that effectively knocked Rangers out of the cup in the last round. Now, he has an enormous and significant part to play for the Germans. In fact, will be leaving the club to join Bayern. So they will miss him, but I suspect, like Jim McLean, he may pop out of the hamper and run out onto the pitch at the last minute. However, let's assume he's not there. I think the Germans will be very badly affected. However, having said all of that, conditions as they are, Uwe Rand missing, I think United are going to have it difficult tonight. It's not going to be as easy as it was the last time out when United had that magnificent 5-0 triumph, capped by that brilliant last goal by Eamon Banner, who ripped their defence apart. And that was a conclusive impact of United and the humiliation for the Germans.
And Dundee United received a pre-match boost this afternoon with the news that manager Jim McLean and midfield player Jim McAnally have won the Scottish Brewers Player and Manager of